we like get excited or something? Like
it's rainy. You know how it's getting. Like,
bro, it's sunny in here. We got two suns right now.
That's true.
We got the original sun
What's that?
of the most.
Oh, okay. I know it.
As you can see, we got no hats on,
No hat.
no glasses. I can't see you guys properly now, but so we got a beautiful guest.
My name is Damani Van Rensalier. I am a senior here at Rutgers. I'm a dance major. Yep, that's me.
So yeah, first thing the people want to know: how long have you been dancing?
I have been dancing since I was about five or six. I started out in a studio, and high school I continued the studio, and I did in high school as well. And I'm still dancing in college and hopefully onward professionally.
Ooh, okay, step up.
Okay.
You know the movie?
No, absolutely
No?
no.
No?
No.
You don't know the movie?
No, I know the movie, but like.
Oh, that's not the type of dancing you want to do.
Oh, obviously not, but.
When I was that age, I always wanted to do that kind of. But okay, whatever. I just had to plug myself a little bit. So okay. So dancing for a very long time, 20 years plus. Okay. It had to happen sooner. Enough.
Yo, this happens, like, come on.
So you've been dancing for a good amount of years. What are like some of the struggles you face with dancing in like any aspect? You can go anywhere you want with it.
Struggles. I struggle with finding myself. I mean, that's just a self struggle, but like within the dance world, finding out like who I am stylistically, like as an artist, how I connect with other artists, like what artists I might be able to work with in the future. Like I'm still trying to figure that out now, like just who I am, like stylistically. I think that's really my main struggle for right now. I used to struggle with like being present, I think, and remembering like why I started to dance, because you know, a lot of people, you hear a lot of times people are like, you know, I use dance as an expression or like as an outlet, which it very well is and it should be, but for a while I was finding it hard to like be present in dance and like using it as an outlet as opposed to like as a chore, like I gotta be here. Especially in high school. High school is like a period where I feel like I was really like struggling with like who am I, because I went to a high school where my class was like 1,000 kids. So it was like 4,000 kids in the school.
That's a lot.
It was a huge school.
Mine was 52.
It's like not even a 10.
Wow.
But yeah, it was hard being in a huge high school and like figuring out what I'm best at, and you know, just all about me.
These people are like in your high school. Is your high school like specialized like for dance or?
Well, it was a vocational school, which I really still don't understand what that word means, but we had honestly it was like a pre-college. Like everybody had, they called it a shop, so it was the equivalent to a major. So like I was in the dance shop.
I see.
But there was like business, finance, cosmetology. Like it was basically structured like college, so we were prepared to go to college. So yeah.
I used to dance. I'm not gonna say what kind of dance I used to do.
I don't know.
Answer the question.
Okay. It's my past life.
Yeah, he's dead too.
I'm definitely taking that video down. It's not on my channel, so you can't find it. Anyway,
don't worry,
not trying to hide my past life, but again, that was back in the time where I wasn't really serious with my walk with God, you know? This video is not about me. Okay. We're gonna move forward here. But I mentioned this to say that I remember that when I was dancing, there was that particular struggle of even like, you know, people look at me from afar like you dance really well. But for me, even like while I'm dancing, being present to really like let it flow. So like, was that ever a thing for you? Or like, cause you did mention like it was a struggle for you to be present. But was that majorly when you were performing, or and even speaking of that, do you think dancing is your I don't know if we should put this out here. Like, you think dancing is like where God is?
Did you say the C word?
Yeah, the C word.
It's forbidden in some circles.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of forbidden things right now, but it's okay. I'm standing with no glasses in my eyes, but it's okay. But do you think that it's something that God is calling you to? Because I do believe that, you know, there are people who are called to be in that area.
So the being present it was a matter of me being in class. So what they like to say is class is supposed to be where you train and you get all your falls out and your mistakes are made. But another part of that is me being afraid to fail, which is a whole other thing. But it was mainly in class, because on a stage, I still don't even know how. Everything is just like gone, like on the stage. But it's in a class where I'm like vulnerable and we're close and personal and whatever. It was hard for me to just be there, you know. Everything else was just distractions. But even sometimes now, I still get distracted. I am still figuring out.
Okay.
And it sucks to say that, because I feel like God is clearly showing me that in so many different ways. But it's like that tug and pull of like, is this what my flesh wants to do? Is this, like you said, what God is calling me to do? Is it for a bigger purpose? Like, and now being in my last semester, it's like on my mind every day. It's like, was this worth it? Because people graduate, a lot of my friends that I know of graduated high school at 18 and started dancing. And at that point, I wasn't in a walk. I mean, I believed in God, but I wasn't in a serious relationship with Him. So, you know, whatever. But if I would have known what I know now, then I definitely would have went to school. I wouldn't have just went off and gotten a job.
She's saying.
But because
but if you weren't in school, we wouldn't see you here. So hey,
then the show would suffer.
God always works things out.
And that's a part of it. That's a part of like why I think this is something that it's a bigger purpose in what I'm doing now, because all that I've learned in these 4 years, like I would not have known God. I would not have had all of these opportunities and things like that. I'm not working as most people are, as most dancers are. Dancers are young now. They're 18, 20. I'm in school, and I felt confined at one point where I'm like, bro, like the world is going on. Like I'm not doing anything. I'm in school, but everything is intentional.
Going back to, let's just take it back to high school.
Right.
How was it figuring your style? Do you think you, in a sense, have figured your style of dancing?
Yes.
Okay. So what was that? What was that journey for you like?
It honestly wasn't until less than a year ago, I feel like.
Oh, okay.
I feel like in high school, I think I thought I knew what that style was. Which is why I'm saying, like, if I were to graduate 18 and go into a job, like I wouldn't have known what else there was. So I feel like now I absolutely know. I think in high school it was what was at my hands. That's what I thought was my style. So it was whatever I was given in high school, whatever I was given at the studio that I went to, and just like being specific, it was like jazz, tap, ballet. It was like this what we call competition world. And now I'm in what we call like a concert dance program, which is like modern, contemporary. And that, using that as a foundation, as opposed to in high school where I feel like I was consumed and like everything I was learning, I thought that's what I was. And now I'm using what I'm learning and using that to create who I am. So about a year ago, less than a year ago, I think I knew for sure, like, this is me.
Do you ever feel like, specifically, like, dance is something that we can, in a sense, use to honor God in a way that, like, in whatever style we develop?
I think that absolutely was a part of one of my struggles too in school, because I was a part of a hip hop group. That's okay. Yeah, it was somewhere along the lines of hip hop, and
that came out a little something along the lines. You see
that specific move.
For freshman and sophomore year of college, I was in a hip hop dance crew, and junior year is when I became more involved in the choir. So I started choir freshman year, so I was doing choir and I was doing the hip hop thing. And
so she sings. She just invested in that.
Something like that.
Yeah, right.
So I was doing the gospel choir, and I was doing the praise ministry, and I was doing the hip hop group. And there were always times where I had those questions, and I'm like, how am I able to go to this hip hop crew rehearsal, whatever, on a Sunday? We used to have rehearsals on Sundays. On a Sunday, and then Monday night I'm in choir rehearsal. Tuesday night, like, I'm praising God, and then Wednesday night I'm back in hip. Like, it didn't feel right, but I kept doing it because I'm like, you know what? But God has called me to dance. Like, I'm gonna dance in every capacity that I could find. But it wasn't until I became a leader in the ministry is when my heart changed, and I'm like, I knew it always didn't feel right. And then once I became in the face of a bunch of people in a setting where I'm supposed to be leading, essentially, then I knew that something had to change. But I think art in general can always be used to glorify God. And now being in, different settings, taking different classes with different teachers of different styles, like, as I'm continuing to grow, remembering that thing that we talked about before is that this is what God is leading me to do. Like, I wouldn't have done all of this training if it weren't for a purpose. So everything that I'm doing is for a bigger purpose. Now, I'm not saying that hip hop necessarily glorifies God. Well, the hip hop dance style, because hip hop now is like everything at this point. But I think it is remembering your intentions behind what you're doing. And like, when I'm in dance class, I'm a dancer. We all have our ministries. And people think of a ministry as being a deacon in the church, or being a minister in church, whatever. Traditional ministry, but we all have our own ministries, and the purpose of a ministry is to minister. So in whatever way. So so just remembering, and I'm always constantly trying to remind myself of, like, why I'm doing it. And it's not that I don't necessarily go into every class or every performance like saying, I'm glorifying God, which is something that I absolutely work on. But I'm always remembering that God has given me this gift. And, I'm using it.
Just like I said in the last video, at the end of the day, God has given us this and everything that we are. So whatever we're doing is, in essence, glorifying. Well, whether we know it or not, like, He's getting the glory. Though, like, it's His intention that we're more intentional about giving Him that glory, that we're not receiving the praise.
With all of these struggles, like struggling with, like, repurposing hip hop, to still be in line with the Lord's gift and glory for your life, what was your inspiration? Because it seems like you said that you found your style, and, like, you're more in line with what God has purpose for your life. So evidently, whatever inspired you helped push you past all of these struggles. So what was it? What would you say has been your inspiration from the beginning, or, like, from whatever point? Wherever you want to.
I'm gonna be honest. From the beginning, I have no idea. Like, being, like, in high school.
No, that's. You'd be like that sometimes. People are like, "What's this?"
Like, what? And I ask myself. Well, now I don't ask myself that question. But, like, in high school, every day I'm like, "Yo, why am I still dancing?" Like, and that's when I wasn't really in a relationship with God, but, like, I knew, like, I needed to be dancing for some reason. But it was just routine at that. Like, I just woke up, danced, went back to sleep. Like, that was the life. But now, being in more of a relationship with God, the ministry that I became a part of is and always will be a huge part of who I am now and who I will continue to grow into.
Yeah.
Because it's given me a foundation. First of all, finding like-minded people is always like, it's always an anchor in any situation. And it gave me a group of like-minded people. It gave me a safe place. It gave me a foundation to start that relationship, to grow that relationship. So that particular ministry, absolutely going to rehearse, even just going to rehearsals and being around Christians who love to sing or love to dance, like it's always, it always just fills your heart up with just so much joy. But I think now is going to that and understanding how that has impacted me and how that has molded me in so many different ways is like, and hearing God through different aspects, like He's my inspiration, to be honest. I mean, that sounds cliche, but
sometimes cliche is really all we can say.
As long as it's honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As long as it's honest.
As long as it's honest. So, I remember you were talking about, the future of your dance and how you may have possibly done things differently if your mind was in a different place when you graduated high school. So, what would you say your creative goal of dance is? Like, when it's all said and done, if you were to look back in your life, what was something you would want to have accomplished that you haven't already, if you haven't already?
Okay, so I'm gonna talk practical.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be in The Lion King on Broadway.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put that right there, so that one day I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna reference it and I'll be like,
if the video's still up though.
That has
a prophetic word right there. She's prophesying over it.
Amen.
Come on.
Amen.
Come
on, somebody.
Prophecy scares me. Anyway, so
we're not gonna talk about that.
Yeah. That has always been a huge goal of mine. But I've over the past couple of years been stepping into the realm of teaching and creating, because I didn't always care, I was just performing. I still do mostly perform, but being on a more creative side, choreographing, teaching, I've gotten a lot of people who prophesied over me and would tell me how much it touched them, or how much just the presence of me being in a room and leading has helped them in any way, which is hard for me to even like take in, because it's like me, little old me. But hearing stuff like that makes me ponder about like if the ultimate goal is to be a performer, because that's always what my goal was to be, or is it to use my gifts in a different light, in where it's helping other people. Not to say that performance, because performance absolutely can help other people in ways that we don't even understand, but that's still a question of mine. My flesh wants to perform, but it's still a conversation that I have to have with God.
Yeah. Give it up for Damani. Yo, it's really something cool for me to be around a dancer. Like when I say dance, I'm not, because when I say dancer and I'm Nigerian, people think Afrobeat. I'm talking about like people do other styles, because there are other styles of dancing besides Afrobeat.
Thank you for saying that.
There are other styles of dance.
No, people are really starting to get into the whole.
But the thing about it is, I don't even want to start this
conversation. Afrobeat is good. I'm not trying to say I love Afrobeat.
But I dance Afrobeat. Someone says is new to America.
Yeah, maybe probably.
No, but when I mean new, I mean like more popular.
Bro, all these dances that people do now,
we've been doing. That's what I'm saying. Been doing them, but it's new to popular.
I guess. I mean, same as African music is going worldwide.
You've been doing that since I've met you. All these moves, and most of the dancers I know, like the Afrobeat dancers, they're doing it.
It's because of the internet. Instagram makes things go viral now. Everybody is seeing it.
If you want to, if we're being real, I think it's because of Drake. If we're being honest, because
what's Drake got to do with that?
When he talk, I'm so alright. I don't want to get.
What are we doing? We're not gonna talk about Drake in a second. Nah, let's just keep Drake out of this.